Yeah, Barry's friend stings a guy, and then he's in the hospital in like a human sized bed.
Oh yeah.
It's like a person could be using this.
That shows how fucked the American healthcare system is.
The
Giving
bee.
beds to bees.
One, two, three, four. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that pops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners.
Yum, yum.
Oscar Wieners.
Welcome
Wow.
to Oscar Wieners,
Cheery intro.
the only show on the internet where Hollywood's biggest night, diffuses minds.
I don't like this at all.
I am English Breakfast.
And I'm Pluto.tv at your service.
Did you watch it on Pluto TV?
Yes, I did.
The-
Thank God for Pluto
I
TV.
saw that it was free on Pluto TV, but I've used Pluto TV before, and I just think it doesn't. Did you have commercials? Was the quality good?
Yeah, they were annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't
so-
have like the little dashes that indicates when it's going to happen, right? It just kind of happens in the middle of the movie, or it
No,
does?
they do, but they have the little dashes, but it will catch you off guard every time fucking Ryan Reynolds comes in with Mint Mobile or whatever. It's pretty disruptive, but it was free, so
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
I'm Michael. He's Xander.
Sure.
This is a podcast where every week we pick a Best Picture winner at random and try to figure out if it's Best Picture worthy. And of course, we've come to it. The cream of the crop, the creme de la creme.
The final episode, actually.
Our final episode. We're climaxing with a movie full of climaxes. It is Anthony Minghella's The English
Disgusting.
Patient, 1997 Best Picture winner. It's set during World War II. Well, it's complicated. It's
I got time.
There's like two kind of timelines happening.
Yeah.
So in one timeline, in kind of like the early 30s, and then leading up to the start of World War II,
hmm
Ray Fiennes is a map maker. He's out in the desert. Where are they?
They're in Egypt.
Egypt, yes, the Sahara Desert. And he's with a team. Blah blah blah. They're fucking making maps, taking names.
Damn right.
Then Colin Firth's character, whose name is Jeffrey Clifton.
What a cuck name. I'm sorry.
He enters the picture with his wife Hannah.
No.
No,
His wife is Catherine.
Catherine, played
Yeah.
by Kristen Scott Thomas.
Yeah.
They come into the picture. They kind of join the team, the map making team, and kind of over the course of that kind of timeline, Ray Fiennes and Catherine eventually fall in love. They have kind of a doomed romance. Blah blah blah. You've seen this before. And then the second timeline, it's 1944, 43.
Yeah, we're thrust forward into the distant future where World War II is wrapping up, actually.
Right.
Ray Fiennes, aka I'm gonna botch this name several times over the course of this episode. Almache? Yeah, but they're British, so it's like Amashi. And I'm like, what's this? Are they saying like Marshall or Marshy? I couldn't figure out what they were saying, but it's Hungarian.
Right.
It's Almache, like Almasay, if that helps anybody at home. He is in a plane crash with Catherine. Yeah.
We don't know that. We don't know the full story, but we see her blonde head.
Yeah, we just see her blonde head, I guess, and then they crash in the desert. We don't really know what happens or
They
what
get like
leads them
shot
there.
down by what, the Germans?
Yeah, he's burned. She's presumed dead. But he's taken in by the English army, and then the kindly nurse named Hannah looks after him.
Like the first like 30 minutes they're kind of traveling with him, and like there's like mines all over the place, that, there's everything's booby trapped. And then Hannah's like, she expresses like, moving this guy so much like is making him miserable, and his life already sucks ass. So like, I'm just gonna hold up in this church, which is me and him. Give me a ton of morphine, give me enough food and whatever supplies for like 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna stay here.
She has also kind of a tragic backstory. She is, by her own admission, cursed. Like everyone that she loves dies or has
Yeah.
some sort of like tragic end. Her I guess it was like someone she loved from her hometown. Like she finds out that they died, and then like somebody else died. And basically, really the only reason that she's looking after Almashe is like because he holds her hand for like half a second. She's like, I'm just having the worst day, and he's just like, he like holds her hand like a little baby.
Oh, is that why?
There is a little moment of like,
Okay.
of sympathy where she's like, I'm gonna make sure this guy doesn't die alone and painfully.
Right. I do think the first like half an hour, I actually was kind of into how all over the place it was, but I was also like confused. I was like, can you guys tell me something concrete? Because I don't totally know what's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's intentional, but I was a little bit like, all right, I'm getting annoyed here. Can we tell me something, please?
Tell me something. Yeah, they bury the lead throughout most of this piece, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
I think this movie is fine. I do like Hannah as a character. I was gonna say that I like her. I think she's possibly my wife. I'm not sure. When I saw her playing hopscotch in the middle of the night, that I was like, this might be my soulmate.
Yeah, Juliette Binoche is who plays Hannah is she's very charming.
There are
She's
a
great.
couple of moments that really do it for me. When they're just like kind of like hanging out in jeeps, that's pretty cool. When she's like shirtless, cutting her hair, like looking out the back of a tower window, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's funny. Like there are likable characters in this. I don't really understand. Gosh, I don't even know where to start with this. There's like so many different threads. Um, this is a romance. Would you say? Would you characterize this as a romance?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you like the romances in this movie? Because that's core. That's
My
core to this
whole
whole thing.
my whole thing with this movie is I think the romance between Rafe Almashi and
Yeah.
Catherine,
Weird.
it's weird. I don't really care about it.
I'm interested in it, but I don't really. They hate. It's one of those things where like they hate each other for like most of it until like they're madly in love with each other out of nowhere. They had that weird scene where like they have sex, and I don't really even get it. Like I don't even know what's happening.
I don't know
Like
whose limbs are which. I don't know where they're
no,
going.
I don't know who's who. They hate each other throughout the whole movie, but like then she just like shows up to his room in a dress, and he's like, "Yeah, it's on." And then they have like like she slaps him, but then like they like have
Then he like
crazy
falls at her
forceful
feet and it's
sex.
like
Yeah,
kissing her like, but like her
basically
like
kissing her crotch, pretty much.
yeah, basically
Yeah, her
yeah
clothed crotch.
yeah.
Um,
I
you
just
guys
think
explain it to us. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
there's a thread their whole relationship. It's like they keep saying about themselves like, I don't want to be owned. I don't want to be like I don't want to be I don't want to belong to somebody because that like inhibits my freedom. That's like their both of their whole thing.
Right. And then he's a massive hypocrite because he's like, he gets super jealous when she's with anybody, like when she's with her own husband, when she's out doing something. He's like, he even says something akin to like,
your
something
mind.
suggests, yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
you
I think he
belong
says
to
that. He
me.
gets drunk. There's like a party scene where he's drunk and he's like, she's like dancing with another guy, not her husband, just some random guy, and he's like, "Is he next? Are you gonna fuck him next?" And I'm
Yeah,
like,
he goes nuts. He goes ape.
"Chill,
There are a
Rafe,
couple
Rafe,
times where he goes
buddy."
fucking ape shit in this, like out of nowhere.
Yeah, which like would be interesting, I guess, but like I don't know. It's like it doesn't do like the ambiguity of these characters like psyches.
Yeah.
It doesn't like convey that successfully enough. It's sort of like it just feels kind of how it felt watching it was like it's kind of clumsy how scene to scene they kind of like seem in love and then seem out like they don't want to be with each other because they're getting too close to each other. And it's just like but it felt like I said, it feels clumsy. It doesn't feel like the filmmakers have enough of like a handle on that.
No, I don't really know
I
what
don't
their
know.
aim was either. Like I think they just wanted to make something that was tantalizing from an audience perspective, but I don't know if there's a lot of substance there.
It's like not taboo enough
Yeah,
to
you're
be like
right.
scandalous. You know, it's I'm sort of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like there's, I mean, an extramarital affair. I guess that's scandalous.
Been there, done that.
Seen it.
I'm actually kind of way more interested in all of the peripheral, maybe not all of them, but most of the peripheral characters than I am the main romance.
Yeah, the church in quote unquote present day, when the war is wrapping up,
Yeah.
it gradually is filled with a rotating cast of characters that start to populate the the side story, if you will.
Yeah, like
Um,
you got Willem Dafoe as Caravaggio, who is a morphine addicted guy whose thumbs were cut off by the Nazis because he refused to or did refuse to give them information about uh the British.
I don't know. He's basically a Looney Tunes character in this. He
He's
shows up.
the Tasmanian devil.
He truly is. He shows up to this church unannounced, says hi to Hannah. He's like, hi. Like, doesn't know her. She's like, hi. And he's like, I know your friend Mary, and apparently we live 2 blocks from each other in Canada. It's like, okay. So can I live here now? And he's like, I brought eggs. Oh shit. Like, drops them all.
Yeah.
He, like, pulls one behind her ear. He's like, got an egg. He's just such a weird, odd, just, you're like, who is this? Why is he here?
Yeah,
He
and then
has ulterior motives, we learned.
yeah, he wants to kill Almaji or whatever, Almasi because Ray finds because we can get more into it, but Ray Fiennes gave the Nazis information in exchange for what? And for transport,
Yeah, pretty
plane
much fuel
supplies.
for his plane. Yeah,
Yeah.
he wanted to sit. Now we're getting all over the map, but Catherine was dying in a cave, and he's trying to save.
It's
Spoiler alert, I guess.
We'll get. It's really hard to explain. Catherine's in a cave. She was already.
Yeah, it's the
We'll
cave.
get
Also,
into
they
it.
discovered these ancient cave paintings. That's important to the story, and that's where she's hiding. But then they have to sell. He's got to sell plans to the Nazis because the British wouldn't save his ass because he's Hungarian.
He walks 3
There's
days in the desert, and he gets to
yeah,
the British, and they're like, "You're going to jail, and we're taking you back to."
yeah.
They're taking you back to Germany, and he's like, "I'm not from there. Like, we don't care."
He's like, I walked 3 days in the desert. My wife, I guess it's not his wife, but like a woman needs help, and like I need a car now. Okay, Nazi, we're gonna take you to fucking prison. How about that?
So you got Caravaggio, and then like, um, who is it? You got Kip, played by
Kip,
Naveen Andrews,
yeah,
and is it Hardy? Yeah, Hardy. Kevin Watley as Hardy. They're like a duo. They're like a bomb diffusing duo. And
yeah.
I love their whole vibe.
They got a great vibe for sure.
Kip and then Kip and Hannah strike up a romance,
Yeah,
which I actually was way more invested in
same.
than Rafe and Catherine.
Yeah, they're fun. They're lighthearted. And it feels like oh, it's just nice and they like each other. There's no extramarital affair. I wonder if the movie introduced that in order to offset the stress of fucking Catherine and Almashi.
This movie's based. We talked about this with Driving Miss
Don't
Daisy a little bit last week, but it's based on a
don't do this to
novel
me.
by Michael Ondaatje. Won the Booker Prize, I think, the year it came out.
The Booker Prize for Best Book.
Yeah, the most
Great.
book prize. Ever heard of it?
Sweet.
Um, and these two kind of temporalities occurring at the same time, and sort of like similar kinds of like events, like two kind of parallel romances, like one that's full of doom and gloom, and one that's like full of like kind of like joy.
Yeah.
It feels like more of a novelistic thing versus like in the movie, I'm sort of like,
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of drawing a parallel, but I don't really see why. Like, I don't really get what it's doing there other than just to like give the characters something, which like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm glad it's there. I like Hannah. I like seeing her fall in love. I think Kip is a nice guy.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. But it's just a little bit like, does this movie need to, this movie didn't have to be 3 hours, did it?
It certainly did not.
Like
Um,
maybe we can cut some of this shit out. I don't know.
yeah, that's another thing we haven't addressed. Like this movie's long. Feels it. Like there's just so
Definitely feels it.
much that's happening.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like so much is dragged out with the core romance of it all. Um, Almashi and Catherine, I feel like their whole dynamic is it's just so drawn out and it kind of follows beats that I've seen, but it's like we kind of know where this is going more or less. Like we can get to the more juicy stuff quicker, but it takes such a long time. It's like, oh, we got to gawk at his journal entries. He's like, and I just don't really, I don't vibe with them a whole lot.
No. I will say though, the last like 30 minutes of this movie did kind of get me. Like I wasn't crying by any means, but like I do think so they they're doing the team that Amashi is with, they're doing research for the Royal
Make
Geographical
maps.
Society or whatever, which I
Yeah,
think is British. A
if it's
British.
royal, it's definitely British.
Right. So
They're all
yeah, so it's like
British anyway. So
right. So it's like, but because of the war, it's like we don't really have. I don't know if it's like they don't have funding or it's like we just need resources need to be allocated differently. You guys can't just like fuck around in the desert anymore.
yeah,
So they're all gonna come back from Egypt, leave the desert, and this kind of kicks off like kind of the third act of the movie, which is like everybody leaves. Almashi's waiting in the desert. This scene's insane. Colin Firth, he's picking Ray Fiennes up. Ray Fiennes, he's like,
he's
oh
like, "We'll
cool, the
come
plane's
get you."
here. Let me just pick
Yeah,
up all my shit and get ready for him to land. Nope, Colin Firth is like, I'm gonna drive my plane directly at you because I found out you've been cucking me. I'm gonna kill you with this plane.
yeah.
But
Really batshit insane.
Ray Fiennes jumps out of the way because it's not really that hard to get out of the way of a plane in 1935 or whatever.
It's only going like 13 miles an
Yeah.
hour.
The plane crashes.
Thanks.
Thankfully, fucking Colin Firth dies because I was sick of him.
God, yeah.
Um, Catherine's still alive though, but it's crazy because she's like she like can't even move at first, and then like Almashi takes her out of the plane, brings her to that cave that they went to. He carries her there, sets her down. He's like, "Yeah, you're in pretty rough shape. I think your wrist and ankle are broken, and you might have some broken ribs." I'm like, "That's it." She got in like an insane plane crash. She's not like paralyzed. I don't know. I was just like, this is
Yeah,
insane.
but also like it's it's dire because they're in the middle of the fucking desert, like
Yeah.
which becomes evident. Like he's got to walk 3 days for some British people to tell him to fuck off, and then he's got to waste another week to get to sell his soul to the Nazis, basically, in order to help her.
Yeah. And I think that from there, it actually did it did get me because I was just like, just the stress of like, he has to get back to Catherine. She's literally going to die. He left her with some food and water, but it's like, she's already in bad shape, and it's like
Mhm.
even like I think he makes her a fire, but it's like how long is that gonna last? The fire is maybe gonna last like I don't know, and that's gonna go out, and she's gonna be cold, and
But it's not tense because we know she's dead. Like we know the result. If she was alive, she'd be present in the current portion of the movie, or at least he would. I mean, I guess he has amnesia or whatever, or fake amnesia. I don't know. I think he's faking it, but
yeah,
I think she would at least be present during those portions, or at least some mention of her be made. Like,
that's
obviously, she's no longer with us. Like, they didn't rescue her or anything.
right. It's such a weird fake out because it's like, all right, so she dies in the cave.
Yeah.
Ray Fiennes probably gets back to her like I don't know, like maybe a week later. Like a lot of time
Yeah.
passes, if not longer. I found that stuff actually effective. Like it's just like the sadness of like she might have been able to be saved, but like just like the circumstances of the world. It's like oh no, like your stupid romance doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
you might be a Nazi, so we're gonna arrest you kind of for no reason. Yeah, so the weird fake out is like he carries her out, he gets her because he gets like a plane, I guess, from the Nazis. Or no, he gets like one of his friends' planes that was like stashed nearby. I don't fucking know. He gets a plane. He gets Catherine in the plane, and then the two timelines kind of sync up with like or that one timeline syncs up at the beginning of the movie. And it's like the fake out is like you thought Catherine was alive in the plane and just died in the plane crash, but it's like no, she's been dead. And so you're like, okay.
Yeah. All that's
Okay.
to say, oh, all right. Yeah.
This movie's kind of a
My
big
head
shrug.
hurts.
Huh?
Yeah. This kind of, my head hurts, is what I
Yeah.
was going to say. Yeah. No, this movie is kind of a big shrug.
I don't think the movie's
Um,
bad.
I don't think the movie's bad. I generally like most of the characters. Um, I'm also like it held my like as long as it still held my interest.
Yeah.
Um, there are some silly, goofy moments that I think like weren't intentional, but still made me laugh. There's the whole campfire scene where Cuck Firth is like dancing and singing like I don't have a banana, but I have a potato. Like, what the fuck is this? There's this scene where Almashi and Catherine are having like a heart-to-heart conversation behind the bleachers of that auditorium, and they just like have this. They conclude this dramatic conversation, and then she gets up to leave and like hits her head on a fucking pole. Like it looks like an outtake. It looks unintentional.
Aren't there a few headbangers in this? Like, don't like people kind of donk
Yeah.
their heads a few
Oh,
times?
there are some serious headbangers in this, dude. The score, no, the score kind of sucks. I'm
When
sorry.
they play Nazi Punks Fuck Off by the Dead Kennedys, that fucking I banged the head out of my shit.
Bang the fuck out of my head. Yeah, there is a weird motif of hitting your head on shit, which
There
I
is,
don't
right? I'm not
understand.
crazy.
Yeah, no, you're not crazy. It happens multiple times. I don't know if that's supposed to symbolize anything or if it's just like the filmmakers are like, I don't know, this is kind of funny. It's in their heads.
Yeah. One scene I do love that we didn't talk about is between Kip and Hannah is like when they go in like that little like cathedral or something and
Yeah.
Kip suspends her by the rope and he's sort of like swinging her around to look at like the paintings up high. It was
What
like
a
so like
smooth
romantic.
motherfucker. Yeah.
And like I was like, this is what this movie needs, not people just like having sex and crying about it.
I guess you also like the movie can't be carried by a totally normal dramaless romance that's nice.
Yeah.
Like ultimately you want it to be nice, but there has to be something in there to create tension.
Well, I mean, the tension in the Kip and Hannah relationship is like she thinks she's cursed. He's a fucking bomb diffuser, so she's afraid that he's gonna
Yeah.
blow up. And then he
And he
doesn't.
almost does. I
His
was so
friend
happy
does,
that he
though.
didn't.
Yeah, no, 100%. I thought he was. I was like, are we really doing this?
That would be, I think, terrible.
Yeah.
He's like, it's like the last day he's there, his buddy's like, hey, can you come defuse this giant bomb we found? And he's like down there, like in those mud with this pit with a giant bomb. And he's like, got a screwdriver, just like dropping shit. And he's like, "Oh shit!"
And
the
then
giant tank is coming on the
the
bridge.
tanks are coming
just
because the
shaking
Germans
everything.
have surrendered, and it's like, oh, the war's over. If this guy dies right now, that sucks. But he
He's
doesn't.
then just like, just cut any wire, cut a wire, and he cuts a wire, and he's fine.
Yeah.
Which, thank Christ.
God.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say about this movie.
End of movie, I think.
Credits.
I think that was I think honestly that whole thing was a crazy ass ramble, but
Yeah, definitely not our most focused episode, but I do think this movie is so jumbled and all over the place.
Yeah.
In a way that kind of doesn't need to be. Like it's not like anything is like that difficult to understand. It's just sort of like, why are we telling the story this way?
Right. Would you recommend this to a pal? Or to an enemy?
Yeah, maybe both. I mean, my trajectory with this movie is so funny because like the first like 40 minutes I was like, because as you know, as much as it wasn't telling us, the viewer, I was like, I kind of really am digging this. And I was like, is this like 4 stars? And then I was like, maybe it's 3.5. And I was like, maybe it's 3. Like it just kind of kept like slowly going down in my estimation over the course of the movie.
Yeah, it was ultimately good and well made.
Yeah.
And I do think there are some memorable moments and characters, but I think time will tell if this fades from memory.
Would you like to hear the other nominees this year?
Totally.
This is a year where it's like, why didn't like 3 other movies win instead of this? Like it's nuts. It's one of those years.
That's fun. I like that.
First up, we have this probably should have won. It's an iconic masterpiece. It is Joel and Ethan Coen's Fargo.
Oh wow. Okay. A movie I have not seen.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, it's been on my list for a very long time.
Yeah, it's, it's a perfect movie. And it's about Jerry, a small town Minnesota car salesman. Jerry Lundegaard, played by William H. Macy, who's bursting at the seams with debt. This is the letterbox description.
This is okay. Seems
Dot,
like
dot,
you're
dot. But he's got a plan. He's going to hire 2 thugs to kidnap his wife in a scheme to collect a hefty ransom from his wealthy father-in-law. It's going to be a snap, and nobody's going to get hurt. Dot, dot, dot. Until people start dying. Enter Police Chief Marge Gunderson, played by Frances McDormand. I think she won the Oscar.
Really?
One of the most iconic film characters of all time. A coffee-drinking, parka-wearing, and extremely pregnant investigator who will stop at nothing to get her man. And if you think her small-time investigative skills will give the crooks a run for their ransom, dot, 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 you betcha. I don't know
What a
who wrote
great...
that, but God bless.
Well, yeah, God bless, dude. That's a great synopsis. If I'm a studio, I'm buying your movie, you know?
First of all, this movie's 98 minutes long.
God, that's tight.
It's about an hour plus shorter than the English Patient.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's funny, it's moving, it's just incredibly well made. This probably should have won because it feels like a movie that it feels like the movie that finally the Coen brothers kind of like, where before they were kind of these like idiosyncratic weird guys making their kind of quirky movies.
Mm-hmm.
Fargo is the movie where like kind of the mainstream and their sensibilities like finally match up and people embrace them completely and are like, whoa, we didn't know you guys had this in you.
Cool.
And then their next movie is The Big Lebowski, because they
Nice.
said fuck you all, and everybody's like, what the fuck is this? But Big Lebowski obviously is a classic now too, but like at the time people were like, what?
Big Lebowski, that almost, do you think that has more value than being a Best Picture winner to have like such an intense cult following?
Almost, because like who thinks about, I mean, like we're talking about, who thinks about The English Patient?
Not me. I'll tell you that.
I think about the Big Lebowski kind of often. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, there's a lot. You know what? I think this is something that doesn't get said enough. We say it on our show, Let It Be Known, But there should be, if you're going to be a Best Picture winner, if you're going to be crowned the best film of the year, there's got to be some iconic shit in your movie.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
totally.
Things that I can immediately associate with your film. Big
100%.
Lebowski's got a lot of that.
Cool.
Bowling, White Russians, The Dude, like it's all so memorable.
Yeah, highly recommend Fargo. It's a masterpiece. What can I say?
Yeah.
Next up, another masterpiece that I love so much.
Insane.
One of the great romantic comedies of all time. It is the Cameron Crowe directed, Tom Cruise starring
Huh?
Jerry Maguire. Jerry Maguire used to be a typical sports agent, willing to do just about anything he could to get the biggest possible contracts for his clients, plus a nice commission for himself. Then one day, he suddenly has second thoughts about what he's really doing. When he voices these doubts, he ends up losing his job and all of his clients, save Rod Tidwell, played by Cuba Gooding Jr., an egomaniacal football player.
I think this movie sucks.
Oh,
I think Jerry Maguire is not a very good movie.
what are you even talking about right now?
I watched it pretty recently, and I was like, "This
Gave it
is."
2 stars. You
Not-
said, "Show me the movie." Am I right?
I think that's fair.
What the hell?
It's just
This is 5 stars. This is a 5-star movie.
that's a wild take from you. I think I wouldn't expect that. The show me the money scene is very good. The rest of it is like I don't really care about these characters or what's going on. It just feels it feels hollow to me.
Okay. Renee Zellweger, though, she's so charming in it. She's so cute. Tom Cruise is probably at
I
his
like-
hottest.
I like English Patient better than that movie.
That's crazy.
Sue me. Come get me. You know where to find me.
My favorite thing
Go
about
ahead.
Jerry Maguire is like it's a movie that kind of starts at the climax. Like Jerry Maguire has like this huge revelation,
Yeah, and then it just becomes duller.
and then it's sort of like it's sort of like the movie is about him, and then even like he gets married. Spoilers to Renee Zellweger, like maybe like an hour-ish in, and then the kind of the rest of the movie is about him like figuring out like oh, I made those decisions for a reason. Let me try and become the person who can live up to those decisions, and like because they are ultimately good decisions. I just think that's like an interesting way to tell a story.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing here you're tight. You're not saying this because you don't want to be too blue
Right.
on Zoom, but you did write in the chat. You wrote, "I
Mhm.
think this movie drinks piss," which is kind of disgusting.
I do apologize for saying that, but actually you said it, so you should apologize.
I'm not. You said it. I'm not apologizing. I'm quoting you.
You don't want to say it out loud. You don't want to say it on this show.
Next up, another movie that probably could have and maybe should have won Best Picture. A movie I watched recently because I looked up the nominees for this year like earlier, like middle of this week, and I was like, shit, that movie's on the list, and I've wanted to see that for so long. I was like, let me just watch it. So I watched it like 2 days ago. It is Mike Leigh's Secrets and Lies.
Never heard of this.
Starring Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Brenda Blethyn, Timothy Spall, among others. After her adoptive mother dies, Hortense, a successful black optometrist, seeks out her birth mother. She's shocked when her research leads her to Cynthia, a working-class white woman.
That's it?
That's it. Why were you yawning?
Because I'm just bored by it. Did you like it? Was it good? Does it
Yeah,
sound?
I think
It
this
sounds
movie-
very boilerplate.
This is a masterpiece. 5 stars. Amazing.
Okay, we gotta have a talk. You can't be giving everything. It can't all be masterpieces. I'm sorry. Some of it has to be not that good or fine.
Yeah, English Patient. What are you talking about?
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, I love this movie. I think it's so moving. It's funny. I've seen this is maybe like my 4th Mike Leigh movie that I've seen. I love them all. Every movie I see by him, I'm like, holy shit, this guy he's a British director, and like he's
What else has he done?
he did
Is he Spike Lee's brother?
no, his last name is spelled Leigh.
That's really
Freak.
disappointing.
Yeah. He did this movie called Life is Sweet that I remember I posted my review on Letterboxd and you were like,
Oh
I
yeah,
gotta watch this. I think you'd like
yeah.
that movie a lot. It's funny.
All right.
That
Okay.
one's like it's got some dramatic stuff, but it's like basically a comedy.
You
But yeah,
just like him because you have the same name.
finally, a movie I haven't seen.
Let's say it sucks.
Let's say it sucks. See, this is the one I'll give 2 stars because I haven't seen it.
Okay.
It is Scott Hicks's Shine.
Um,
Pianist David Helfgott.
Sorry, take it again.
Penis David Helfgott, driven by his father and teachers, has a breakdown. Years later, he returns to the piano to popular, if not critical, acclaim.
Pretty good for a man named Penis. Pretty solid.
Yeah.
That's the whole synopsis?
Yeah, it seems like Jeffrey Rush plays the penis, the titular penis.
Nice. Very good, Jeffrey.
Those are the nominees. Do you think English Patient is Best Picture worthy?
This is a tough one.
Can I go first?
Yeah, dude.
I think it is.
Oh, not what I thought we were going to get from you. Okay.
I think it's epic in scope. I think it's doing a lot. It has a lot of ambition. Even if it didn't all work, I do think it is, it's a tough year because there's 3 other movies that I think should have beat it. But
yeah.
I do think it's worthy. I think it's, pretty well made. I don't know. People are trying their best.
Yeah, I'm gonna copy your notes on this. Actually, I'm gonna plagiarize you a little bit and say ditto on that. Yeah. I think it is Best Picture worthy because of all the things that you just said.
Yeah, which are what? Just say them back. Just repeat them.
See,
let's see if you were listening.
Oh, because Colin Firth is in it and he gets cucked. I think that's important.
That, but yeah.
The fact that there's a lot of sand. It's kind of like Dune in that regard. I think that's
actually
pretty
hate
important.
Sand. It's rough and it's coarse and it gets everywhere.
I resent that you even said that. Definitely win an Oscar for most unnecessary but still welcome Willem Dafoe performance.
He's good. I mean, Willem Dafoe has never given a bad performance, right?
Yeah. He could be in anything. Put him in anything, but it didn't need it, frankly.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But would you like to get a sense of what the people think about The English Patient?
I actually would. I'm curious.
Some people lost their patience. Some people kept it intact.
Nice.
A lot of thirst for big Ray Fiennes out there.
We didn't really talk about it, but like, if you're Colin Firth and you put Ray Fiennes in 1996 in front of your wife, you're gonna get cocked.
Yeah, it's just gonna happen, but I'm sorry. I feel bad for Colin Firth too, because like he's a handsome man in his own right, but he's just always put in a position where he's just the cuck is inevitable.
The most cuckable man in Hollywood.
He really is. It's unfortunate, but he deserves better, frankly.
Yeah.
But you can't just and fucking Ray Fiennes his brother, right? In Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah. Oh, he got cucked by the whole family.
He's
Joseph Fiennes.
God, that's a travesty.
Also,
he had that
hot
thought
in that movie. It's just like
incredibly, yeah.
The genes are insane.
Also Ray Fiennes his fits in the whole movie. I'm just like, I need all these. He's just got like loose fitting like linen shirts and like these baggy khakis where I'm like,
and like but like tucked into like tall kind of cool boots.
Yeah. Serving looks for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna read some reviews.
Yeah, go for it.
To maintain their anonymity, we're gonna give them some fake names. So give me the name of potentially one of the world's leading punsmiths.
Carrot Top.
Oh, Carrot Top does say 1.5 stars.
He hated The English Patient.
He hated Carrot Top. Carrot Top would hate The English Patient, actually.
He can't sit still for long enough to watch it.
No, not enough puppets, not enough props. The English Patient, featuring Voldemort as Count Boring de Moron. And a bunch of sand. Give me the name of somebody who's just lost in the wrong part of town.
Jeff Dunham. Remember him?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. The racist puppet guy.
Yeah, the racist puppet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still in Vegas doing
Probably.
his shtick.
He's
But
probably doing, yeah, whatever.
yeah, Jeffrey Dunham says 2 stars. The movie's well made and it takes you where it wants to take you. However, metaphorically, where it takes you is an abandoned crack house outside of Detroit, meaning it's somewhere you don't want to be. The movie's basically 2 interconnected romances that, in my opinion, fall pretty flat. But the movie looks really nice. It is dreadfully dull. A lot of people said the movie looks nice. Does it look nice? I think it looks good.
The thing is, though, did you watch this? Would you watch this on your laptop?
I watched it on my phone like a
I watched
millennial
it on my phone
ass.
too. If
Yeah,
I saw this on a big screen, I'd probably be like, "Damn, this thing looks."
that is true. Yeah, now I feel
It's like
stupid
an epic
because you're
it's like
right.
a historical epic, and I'm watching it on my fucking 8-inch phone. Not even
Yeah.
my fucking 4-inch phone.
The opening scene where they're flying over the desert is pretty cinematic and beautiful.
Yeah.
And then actually, there's the opening scene where it's just like somebody painting fucking cave art for like 35 minutes. That's like the first.
It's
so
pretty long. I was like, can we fucking get on with it?
Yeah, it's maybe the worst intro sequence out of any movie we've covered so far.
Definitely.
And I was like, this is not a good sign for this movie. But ultimately, it was fine. Give me the name of somebody who's a real color expert, a colorist, if you will.
Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa, neither a painter nor a photographer, but is a painting, so I guess that counts. She says 2 stars for English Patient. Good, I guess, but very boring. I kept waiting for something to happen to make me believe in their love story, but it never did. Also, everything was so brown. Like, literally. A sepia filter over the entire movie. I know this came out before Titanic, but it feels like it was trying really hard to be on the same level as Titanic. Also, pretty freaking long, and for no reason. A lot happens, and yet nothing happens for almost 3 hours. What do you say we get out of here?
Let's get out of here. Next week, we're going to talk about Hamlet.
Nice.
Laurence Olivier's Hamlet. It's on Tubi. Don't spend a ducat.
I will not. Impossible, actually.
In the meantime, if you're ever lost in the desert, you're making maps, you're stuck in the Sahara, you've got a cute little boy on your arm who's like kind of tormented about whether he should love you. He doesn't want to give up his freedom as a map maker.
Yeah.
Get a fire going.
Mm.
You probably got some weenies on you. Stick a weenie on a stick. Roast that thing. Put it between 2 buns and place it between his buns.
Nice.
And have a munch, because this is a kinky erotic thriller, English Patient, directed by Anthony Minghella.
Gross.
And you're going to get Rafe's approval for your whole life in matrimony. Bye-bye.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that bops. Oscar bait, black and white, maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners.